Hey now Deadheads, we are back again, and it's been a while, but figure it's finally time to share with you the Blues for Allah 50th anniversary edition that came out about 2 months ago. I'm a little bit delayed on this one. I have been listening to these releases and many other releases as well. I've been a little bit busy, so bear with me. I do this channel just for fun, not for a job or anything. I haven't quit my day job yet. And so let's play a little catch up today and let's take a look at a couple different versions, or in fact a few different versions of Blues for Allah from the Grateful Dead. Now we've got 3 different versions to look at today. And so I'm excited to share all 3 of them with you. Starting things off with the Dead.net exclusive limited edition of 3000 Midnight Fire custom vinyl. And this is a beautiful one. They often do a very good job with these Dead.net exclusives, making some beautiful custom vinyl. First, let's take a look at the liner notes, and you can see they've got the liner notes here with all the lyrics in English. And on the flip side, we've got Hebrew, Arabic, and Persian. And I believe these are all translations of the Blues for Allah lyrics. You can also see down here at the bottom the copyright, and that's written in Roman numerals, not Arabic numerals, which is a bit curious for this release. When we take a look at the Midnight Fire custom vinyl, it is a beautiful pressing. Look how pretty this is. Very pretty, very ruby red, matching the skeleton fiddler on the cover. And of course, the inner sleeve is that black paper poly-lined inner sleeve. I don't really love these. I always have to clean records when they arrive in those black poly-lined inner sleeves. And then here on the back, that beautiful engraving portrait of the band. I've always really loved the back of the Blues for Allah album cover. So that's the modern version. Now let's take a look at an older pressing. I don't know if this is an original, but I've had this for a while. Picked this up, as you can see on the sticker here, from Head Sounds, a record store in Brooklyn, New York that doubles as a barber shop. I didn't have a copy of this on vinyl, and so a while back I picked this up at a record store barber shop. The front cover here is pretty clean, and it looks pretty similar to the new 50th anniversary pressing. And the liner notes are very similar. In fact, when you look at the front and the back, you have the English translation as well as a few different languages of Blues for Allah. And then we have the 1975 Roman numerals for the copyright. Taking a look at the vinyl, you can see it's got a slightly different label on this, originally black pressing of the record. I don't know, again, if this is the first pressing or an original. And a funny little relic of the past, this was formerly owned by a guy named Gary Stroud. And so Gary, thank you for passing on parts of your record collection to me via Head Sounds record store in Brooklyn, New York. Then finally on the back, you can see it's very similar to the modern pressing. Again, not too much wear on this front and back of the cover of the outer sleeve. And so that's the 50th anniversary and the 1975 version. Let's take a look at one more version. This is the picture disc. And I know people aren't often very fond of picture discs. I tend to skip them, but for a lot of these Grateful Dead 50th anniversary releases, I've been picking them up lately. And this is the limited edition of 7500. I think this is about 2 months later when I'm recording this video after it's been released. And these are still available in the Dead.net store for those who are interested. And you can see it's fairly straightforward as I take this out of the protective outer sleeve. The outer sleeve has a big window in it, but it's got a beautiful reproduction of the album artwork, that skeleton fiddler on the front, and then that back cover that I mentioned earlier, that engraving back cover that I mentioned earlier. No liner notes here, so there's no lyrics, no translations on this one, but they did a pretty good job with this pressing. And so that is 3 different versions of the Grateful Dead's Blues for Allah. You might be wondering, all right, there's 3 versions to look at, but how do they sound? That's the important part. And I will say I've read a few reviews of this 50th anniversary remaster, and some folks say it's a more dramatic difference than what I was able to hear, what I heard. I did a lot of A/B back and forth between particularly Help Slip Franklin, and as well as The Music Never Stopped on the older Gary Stroud pressing, as I might call it now in this video, and this new crimson red, midnight fire red, I forget what it's called, red colored pressing for the 50th anniversary edition. And to my ear, to my stereo, they really didn't sound that dramatically different. Now, your ears might differ. I know some folks on the Steve Hoffman forums say it's a bit more of a dramatic difference, but to my ear, they were fairly similar. Now, the one version that did sound a little bit different was, of course, the picture disc, and people are critical of picture discs. It just sounded like it was a slightly more muffled version. It just didn't have as high of fidelity of the two non-picture disc versions. And so I'm glad that I picked it up. I like to collect a little bit of Grateful Dead memorabilia. I've got a couple other picture discs from those 50th anniversary releases, but the copy that I'll most likely be spinning the most is this new 50th anniversary pressing. And you can see from the price tag from my Head Sounds version, my Gary Stroud version, that it's not cheap for a 50-year-old version of Blues for Allah. And so if you don't have a copy of this and you're shopping for a copy of this, I would say, really my advice would be pick up this 50th anniversary pressing. So despite that paper inner sleeve that I'm not so fond of, it's a very clean pressing. You're guaranteed to get a fairly clean pressing from this 50th anniversary edition. The jacket is a little bit thicker. It's a little bit higher quality. It's just a more consistent package altogether. And it might even be a little bit cheaper than finding an older version that might be a little bit scuffed up, might be a little bit scratched up. I don't know Gary, but I don't know how he treated his records back in the day, and you don't know who your Gary might be treating their records. And so for the guaranteed safe bet, I'd say go with the 50th anniversary pressing. And that's it for today. Decided to keep it a little bit short and sweet today. Blues for Allah is, of course, one of my favorite Grateful Dead studio albums from the hiatus years. Great Help, Slip Franklin. I'm a huge fan of The Music Never Stopped, but even some of those lesser known songs, the Sage and Spirit, Stronger Than Dirt, Sandcastles and Glass Camels, which is all part of the Blues for Allah suite. It's just banger front to back on this. So I'm just going to go back to listening to this now instead of yapping a little bit longer. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you're enjoying Blues for Allah as much as I have been this autumn season, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you very much for joining me today. All right, peace.